Good morning, everybody. I was out here starting to pull up some of the grass that's growing out here in the supplemental garden, and I was pulling it out from around these Romano bush beans when I realized, holy moly, they snuck up on me. These things are full of beans. Oh my goodness. My first thing I don't know if I'm going to harvest these. What I may do is I think I may let these dry on the vine and use and shell them and use the beans, the actual beans for soups later in the year. I don't really care for green beans per se, so I think I may just let these dry on the vine. Not the vine, it's not really a vine, it's a bush. But I mean, look at this. Look at these. Yep, they did sneak up on me. Good thing I came in here and checked. Try to get some of this garbage out of here. I'll do it later today, maybe. I don't know if I will today. I'm working on that quilt, and honestly, I'm going to push through it, but I'm not really enjoying this very much right now. I really think I need to sell that big quilting machine, and maybe get me some little smaller workhorse machine just for mending, hemming jeans and just sewing, things, repairs and smaller projects. I don't need a big machine like that Janome 7700, so I may just sell that one. Boy, they're still selling for used way more than I even paid for mine about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. However long it's been, I don't even know. Time passes so quick. But yeah, so the Romanos I could harvest them now, start harvesting them, but I think I'm going to let them stay here and use the actual seed part for, let them dry and use those in soups and stews later. Yeah, these are some of the little yellow pear tomatoes. The extra 3. These two my husband bought in a pack. And that little one down there is one I grew from seed. So anyway, yeah, I thought I would do that. But Andrea, you asked me to tell you the story of how I knew it was time to process my my cockerel that I did years ago. Hi, Hector. Hi, buddy. Hey, sweetie. So I guess I will do that. I'd rather not stand in front of the camera today. I'm not really prepared for that. Hi, Zora. Zora's molting really bad, aren't you, Zora? Zora and Jill. Zora's approaching 6 years old now. Her and Athena. Will you quit picking in that thing over there, Athena? Girlfriend? Come on, girls. Zora, you got a messy behind, girl. She always has this really sludgy poop. She's done that forever. These were from a group of Delawares that I got before I got Isaac and Georgie. Remember Georgie, my last Delaware hen who passed away this last year at 12 years old? Well, the group I had before them, it was from the same breeder, but she was really working on crossing lines, and she was still trying to perfect her line. Well, I had gotten a group from, had some from her, and I had this cockerel named Jake. I was going to keep Jake. He was the best looking of the bunch. He was the best conformation and blah, blah, blah. And I was going to keep Jake. And he was very friendly as a cockerel, as many of them are. The friendliness of them and how much you handle them has nothing to do about whether they'll be aggressive later. It absolutely has nothing to do with it. But when you cross different lines, you don't know what those genes crossing the combination is going to do. And she was this breeder was kind of experimenting. And she's a really good breeder now, don't get me wrong, but it's not, she didn't know that's how, she didn't even know there was going to be a dwarf gene in the next, in there lurking, and that's how I got the dwarf gene in Isaac's line. But, Jake the group was about 24 weeks old. Would you stop digging in that, Maddie? Quit that, woman. I gotta take this stuff and put it somewhere else. So, let me get out of here. my husband went there. We were doing chores one morning, and I had, well, I think it was Jake out, and I had, I don't remember if I had him ready to go. I was going to sell him to somebody or what. I can't remember, but I know there was at least one I was going to sell, and I called him for temperament. But I think this was just this, I think that was Jake. I don't know. I can't remember what, it's been too long ago. I mean, it was over 12 years ago. So it's been a while. But my husband went in there doing chores, and I heard all this thumping. It was a building we've since taken down. And I went toward that building, and my husband came out the door and said, "What was all that noise in there?" He goes, "Jake flew off the roost and attacked me." And I said, "He flew off the roost at you?" He said, "Yeah, he did. He attacked me." And I said, "Put him in the supplemental cage." There was a cage underneath my cripple rooster Zane's cage at the time. And I said, "Throw him in there. We'll process him tomorrow morning." And we had never processed one single bird. Every bird we've had has been a decent temperament. We had never had to do that before. But I was not, if you know the history of the Delawares were created to be a meat bird before the invention of the Cornish cross, which is our current meat bird you see in the grocery stores today. If you see chicken breast, that's your Cornish cross. They were a meat bird. And they had, after the Cornish cross came into existence, the Delaware almost went extinct. Well, they're all leaving me. So, in trying to bring a bird back from extinction, a breed back from extinction, you have to keep the best you can keep. You can't let something in there that's going to run. And a Delaware as a breed, the breed trait, they're supposed to have the breed trait of being a friendly bird, a friendly breed. Now, it's really more individual than it is breed. I have to say, ultimately, it's more the individual than it is the breed, because you can have aggressive silkies, aggressive cochins, which normally people consider docile, especially with hatchery stock, because they do not call for temperament. And the next day, I looked up some ways people process. I didn't have a killing cone. That's usually one way that people do. It's literally a cone, and you stick the bird upside down, and his head hangs out the bottom of the cone, and you slit his throat and bleed him out. That's the way a lot of birds are processed. Well, this bird, I decided we would just string him up. My husband took his X-Acto knife, and he went to the carotid artery. He cut the carotid artery, and he let him bleed out. And he didn't, once you turn a rooster upside down, he pretty much becomes docile. That's as long and short of it. Well, he went and got him, turned him upside down. He didn't protest much, and we bled him out, and we basically just used the breast meat for some stew, from chicken stew. I don't remember how much of the meat we used, because it was just unexpected. We didn't really plan on it. But we did, and it was really good. It was excellent. He was 24 weeks old, and he was just starting to get a little bit of meat on his bones. He wasn't really old. And the Delawares are, they're heavy birds. They're very heavy. They're heavier than they look. They're very dense. And it made really good stew. And I remember the next day or day after saying, "Is there any more of that stew left?" He said, "Yeah, in the freezer door." And I opened the door, and there was a Ziploc bag on the outside that said Jake stew. So that is why and how I knew it was time to process that extreme aggression. I mean, it's one thing if a rooster bites you or rushes you, but when he flies off a perch at you, that is more than enough justification for taking him out of this world. That's extreme aggression. And I don't know why he suddenly became like that. They'll say, if you handle a rooster, it'll make him aggressive. No, it doesn't. It is a genetic thing, basically. Temperament is a heritable trait. I mean, it is inherited. For the most part, you can almost... I've had several breeds over the years. I've had the Delawares. I've had... ones I've raised for a long time, the Barred Plymouth Rocks, the Delawares, oh, what else? Goodness gracious, I'm losing my thought here. What else did I have? Oh my goodness. But I've had 2 lines of Barred Plymouth Rocks, plus my hatchery rocks. And my hatchery rock rooster was actually very docile. So his sons were very good tempered. One of them at 1.5 years old became suddenly aggressive due to a situation he'd been put in for a couple weeks, and he had a very unexpected temperament change. It was not a normal aggression. It was a very strange temperament change. But generally, Zane, my beloved rooster Zane, came out of that hatchery rock rooster. So I've had ample opportunity to observe birds from several, and my blue Orpingtons, that's the one thing I'm trying to think of, blue Orpington rooster swayed. So I've had the blue Orpingtons, blue black splash Orps, I've had the Delawares from heritage lines, I've had the Barred Plymouth Rocks from 2 different lines. Now, I haven't had Hector's line long. Hector is my first one of that line. Hector's group, Hector, Jill. It was Hector, Jill, Mary, and Thea. Mary died the first year unexpectedly. Thea died at 4 years old. And, I only have Jill left. And Miss Maddie here, Hector's daughter, and her sister Jane died unexpectedly at 2 years old. So their longevity in that line is not good. I don't know what is wrong with that line. My Marvin Stukel Plymouth Rocks, who I consider the best in the country, their longevity is much better. They're just perfect, nearly perfect, honestly. But I've had so much better luck breeding from. My line, I always say, is breed from the best, cull the rest. Now, cull doesn't necessarily mean kill. If somebody wants your aggressive rooster to throw out in the pasture to watch out for the hens and he don't care, fine. If he don't care about it, fine. If you're trying to bring a breed back from the brink of extinction, you care. That's why I called that rooster cockerel, rather. Before he's a year old, he's a cockerel. After that, he's a rooster. Wasn't grown. But my Isaac, then she changed her lines up, and I got my Isaac from there, and Isaac was exemplary. And every son, grandson, great-grandson out of Isaac has been perfectly tempered. Every one and the Atlas is a grandson. So he's literally 3/4 Barred Rock, but he breeds true, so he is considered a Barred Plymouth Rock, even though there's a little smidge of Delaware. But see, Delawares, they actually came from Barred Plymouth Rocks originally. Therefore, he's actually more than that. He's actually more than 3/4 if you consider the Delaware descended from the Barred Rock also. So that's how I knew how to call that rooster. That kind of aggression, you don't tolerate. You just let it. He had to go. I lost all my subjects again. Boy, they keep running away from me. You guys, I'm telling you. Hector, you don't want to be the subject of any video today, darling. Oh, Hector was a little pip when he was a little kid. It was before he had his hormones running. He was a biter when he was really little. I had to teach him not to bite, but he was smart and he learned. Dan, you learned, Hector. You're a smart boy, aren't you? You're my good Hector, huh? He's a smart fella. So, but yeah, Zara and Athena actually are Atlas's daughters. I can't breed from them because they carry the dwarf gene, because they came out of that Delaware descended line. Jill and Maddie, I can, but I really don't want anything anymore. Don't want to continue anything anymore. And Hector can't really fertilize any eggs very well because his legs are keeping him from his balance. He doesn't have the good balance. He can't maneuver as well anymore. So the girls probably are not even fertile, considering his insufficiency at the moment with his leg. That's okay. I don't really need it. I just need the eggs for eating. Yep, that's enough of rambling. So there you go, Andrea. There's the story of how I knew it was time to cull that cockerel. Extreme aggression every time. I don't care if they're just a plain old barnyard, what they call a yard bird, just a plain old barnyard bird. Extreme aggression like that, I think, doesn't need to be tolerated. And we won't tolerate it because life is too short to watch your back. And if you're bending over doing something and a rooster attacks your face, he can take your eye out. I mean, it can hurt you badly. Also, the bacteria on their toenails is, you don't need that. So I just don't tolerate aggressive roosters, and I haven't had to. That's the last truly aggressive rooster I've had, and that was pre-Isaac. So that was 12, 13 years ago, and I've had chickens for a little over 15 years, I think. So yeah, it's been a long time. I haven't had an aggressive rooster since. Now, I don't count the Belgian Danvers. They are dumb. They're dumb as a box of rocks. And their aggression is basically a joke. They threaten more than anything else. If they flog you, you don't even feel it. It's like a puff of air anyway. So, of course, Spike is not with us anymore, and Aubrey's over 10 years old, and he's just him. He's a little jerk, but he's my little jerk, and he's not a problem. He's more scared of me than he is aggressive, even after 10 years old. So that's how dumb he is. But there you go. So Hector, you all ready to go inside already? You don't look like you want a free range. He doesn't want a free range much anymore. His leg hurts him too much. He'll go watch out for his girls, but you can tell he wants to come home a lot earlier than he used to. But of course, he hit 5 years old this month. Him and Jill. Zara and Athena are almost 6. And Maddie's 3, 4. I can't remember. 3, 4. I can't remember how old she is now. Boy, you got the weirdest crow of any bird I ever had. Well, anyway, that's it. Andrea, I hope that explains it. And that would be the reason I call any rooster, truthfully. So there you go. Y'all have a nice day.